Good morning. Happy Catterday. It is so great to be back having another live event. And we have a great friend and cat expert with us back again to talk about a very interesting and I would say controversial subject. But, I just want everyone who's listening to this, whether you're live or whether you're, viewing this later on, come with an open mind and an open heart and just think about learning something new. Um, you're going to hear from an expert who has learned from experts. It's just going to be mind blowing and it's going to be really fun. So, Julianne, thank you so much for coming back and talking about essential oils and cats. I'm excited to have you and listen to what you want to share with us today.
Thank you, Pam. Just give me 1 second. I'm just trying to share this on my Facebook page. There we go.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we can reach as many people as possible. So I was just, if I've got a concentration face, I was just trying to get the text sorted.
No, you go right ahead because I will share this as well.
There we go.
And I'm going to share it with.
There we go.
Yeah, absolutely. We can reach as many people as possible. So I'm going to share.
Oh, there's an echo now on your end.
Yeah, because I had stupid phone on. Tech challenged. Okay. So where should we start? Hey, Marissa, thank you for joining us. Hey, Marissa, can you drop this into the Holistic Cats account too group, please? Thank you. If you haven't already, she's just awesome. I don't know what I would do without Marissa.
Little tech angel right there.
She is my tech angel. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so where should we start? I think we should start with the myths. Let's bust those myths. So why do people think essential oils are bad for cats?
Yeah.
Let's start there if you're comfortable with that.
Yeah, well, let's go back one before that. How did you come into this? Like,
great question. I always forget to share that.
Yeah, like what did you wake up one day and go, I want to learn about essential oils and how to do it with cats and who you learn from? I think that's the background is always interesting. It doesn't have to be long, but just brief.
Yeah. Great. So my dear sweet baby girl, Pickle, my cat, she was chronically poorly and we just couldn't figure out what the hell's going on. And I tried different things. I did animal communication and it helped a bit. I tried Reiki and healing and it helped a bit. And then when I did a diploma in animal healing, and my tutor mentioned about using marigold or calendula, macerated oil, and offering it to cats. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? on this module this weekend. And then she talked about using catnip macerated oil, and then she talked about offering seaweed macerated oil, and I'm like, what on earth is she talking about?
Right.
Anyway, that sparked my interest and I found out what she was talking about. She was talking about self-selection. She was talking about zoopharmacognosy, which is the long word for self-selection.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, so cats can do this? So I found out that she trained with a woman called Caroline Ingram. Now, Caroline has been the pioneering voice, I think it's safe to say, in the world of applied zoopharmacognosy. Yeah. So just a quick distinction. Zoopharmacognosy is like a wild animal, right? Parrots using dust or clays under their feathers to remove themselves of mites. All animals can do it. They know what they need to heal. Caroline brought it into the realm of using self-selection with our pets. So with our domesticated animals, cats, dogs, horses primarily. So I looked her up, found that she did a weekend course and it was a feline, it was cat course for the weekend. I was like, ooh, great, let's go and do this.
You're like, sign me up.
Yeah, I'm like, husband, have we got enough money? I don't care, I'm going, I have to go. There was this need in me to go.
Yeah.
And it blew my mind. It's the only way it rocked my world. So we were at a rescue center. So it was 2 days. One day was at a lady's kind of farmhouse. The other day was at a rescue center. And the one day we were at the rescue center and we were just wrapping up, and Caroline said to the woman, do you have anyone that that desperately needs help? If you've got a difficult case, I can show the students, basically.
Yeah.
So the woman said, we've got a feral cat. She's a mum. She's had kittens. We managed to get her into a room, but we're having real trouble getting into the room to change the litter, to get food bowls out. She's obviously very territorial, very protective. She's feral. She's a protective mama.
Mm-hmm.
So Caroline got one of the rescue workers and basically kind of herbed her up. She had rose hydrosol on one leg. She had frankincense hydrosol sprayed on the other leg, and she had a herb garden. So she had a towel with dried herbs on, which we kind of opened the crack of the door, flung the towel in, and kind of put her legs by the door, like this tiny little gap. This poor woman was stood with like 2 legs in this tiny little gap. And the mum, you could see the cat mum, she went and did this massive deep sigh.
Oh, wow.
And her whole body changed. So then Caroline's saying to this rescue worker, go on, go in a bit more, go in a bit. And so the rescue worker was able to walk into the room, gather up all the bowls and walk out. Now, previously, this mum was attacking. She was violent. She was vicious. She was protective.
Yeah.
So I go home after that weekend and I'm just like, oh my gosh, to put it politely.
Yeah. Mind blowing.
And then I found out that Caroline was doing a 2-year diploma. So I did the 2-year diploma. At the time, you could specialize in a species. So I specialized in cats, which was amazing because all of my modules, all of my learnings were all about cats.
Yeah.
And that's where it started, So, my passion is herbs and I use that a lot. I sell the herb gardens. I really, really believe in the power of them. But essential oils is just as powerful a tool. The only difference for me in terms of concentration, herbs are here and essential oils are here. They are different in terms of strength and concentration. So you do have to know a little bit more about what you're doing with essential oils. So that's how I learned to train, why I kind of got into them. That's so cool. One of the moments for me where I really believed it, and I know that sounds silly because you could see it in my training and in the teachings, you listen, you learn, you do the science bit, the biology bit,
Yeah.
But there was a moment, when you're learning a new skill or a new tool, and there's this moment when you're like, right now, I fully believe in it, was when I came home after one module. Pickle had very bad arthritis, and at the time, I was trying to do a lot to help. Vets were saying Metacam, wasn't keen on that option. So Caroline had talked about an essential oil called wintergreen, which if you've ever used like an antiseptic cream, it smells like that. It smells like what we would have in the UK called Germaline, really antiseptic smell. And cats were not meant to really work with this oil very often. Caroline had said it's not really one they use. But I was going through my kit with Pickle, offering different oils, and she wasn't really leaning into the healing. And then I pulled out my wintergreen, lid on, it's not like it's in her face or anything. Lid on. I'm probably about where's my camera? This far away from her. She was on the sofa and I was on the floor. Held it with the lid off. And again, this big sigh and almost like a little groan. Like a relief, like you go,
Yeah.
And I saw her nostrils flaring, and I'd never seen a cat's nostrils flare ever up until this point. But it was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And there's this oil with the lid on, I don't know, half a meter away from her. Her posture changed, her body changed. She was doing all the signs that I was taught as that show a cat processing an oil, which we chat about. And I was just like, I was just shocked, but like I said, the belief just like completely firmly locked in because I could see it in front of me.
Yeah, absolutely. That is incredible.
Yeah,
that is totally incredible.
Yeah, it was that moment when I just thought, regardless of what people say or different approaches or anything, I know this works, and I believe in it. And I will use it, and I do use it, even to this day, with Max and Leo. It's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Yeah.
That's incredible. So where do we start? So Yeah, where do we start? Let's talk about that.
So what broke my heart is that the more I went into essential oils, the more I realized there's this like this kind of dichotomy or this split in people's belief in essential oils.
Right.
And that's what's really been saddening, because what's happened is there's been a few instances of cats and essential oils and they've made the press. And unfortunately, as things do, they gather momentum. They can potentially be blown out of proportion, or the facts tweaked a little,
Mm-hmm.
and it's given cats and essential oils a bad impression. So, for example, there was one cat who was shaved because it had fleas, and the Guardian thought that tea tree oil is antiseptic. So they applied tea tree oil over the whole of the skin of the cat, and the cat died. That is going to, right? There have been other stories, and what it boils down to is misuse of essential oils. It's not that they've not been used properly as a medicinal tool, because that's what they are. They're a medicinal tool. Now, don't get me wrong, it doesn't replace any veterinary care. That's not what I'm saying. It's a complementary modality, in my belief anyway. So I was approached when I left my corporate job by a colleague at the time, who's now a friend, and Nyana, who'd already published a couple of books, asked me to co-author the aromatic cat book with her. And it was on her to-do list for a while, because she'd done essential oils for animals. She'd done the aromatic dog, and she's like, I want to do the cat and the horse, just, keep like not getting around to it. And she said, you're really driven, you're really organized. I was like, I'll take that as a compliment. Right. And she said, how would you feel about, co-authoring on the aromatic cat? And I said, do you know what? It would be such an honor, because for me, it's about getting the message out there that you can use oils safely with cats.
Absolutely.
You can use them. They are incredibly powerful. They are an amazing tool. So I want people to know, that you can use them. Yes, there's a few kind of not hints and tips, but there's a few steps
best practices, like best practices.
Thank you. Yes, best practices. Perfect. To bear in mind when you're using them. And once you've got that nailed, you're well on your way, right?
Yeah.
So I'm in a bit of a different school of thought to other people when it comes to essential oils. Again, there's a bit of a divide. So there are some people that say you can use them in a diffuser. I don't do that. I do work differently to some people, because my ethos, my belief is about self-selection, which is just different to some. So I believe that every cat knows and has the innate capacity to choose what they need to heal. And I don't think that I have any more right or knowledge about what that cat needs more than that cat. So for me, this is the way I do it. I will offer a remedy. So rather than put a drop or two in an essential oil burner, I will offer it to the cat. So like I said, I appreciate that's not for everyone. I think for me, like, because at my core, I'm about giving cats a voice, there's something in me that is like, if I put a drop in an oil burner, I'm saying, like, I know you need that. And I don't, like, like, you might be able to.
That's what you want them to have. Yeah.
And also the kind of the ramifications of putting essential oils in a burner is it lasts in the environment for a while. It's in the air. You've got to give the cat the chance to get away from it. But again, it's still, even if they're in a different room, it's still going to go up the hallway and potentially into the spare room, Yes, have ventilated rooms. So I don't do it, and again, that's not saying that it's wrong. It's just saying that I don't choose to work with my cats that way. So I will always use either the bottle with a lid on, or I will put a drop on a piece of fabric, which I'll share with everybody in a little bit, so we can talk about how to do that safely. Because a cat's sense of smell is, I can't remember the number. I'm so bad with numbers, but it's like
200,000 or
it's
a crazy number, right?
It's like 4 or 6 times stronger, or something ridiculous, more aware, or I can't think what the number is.
It's
as in like how many times stronger than our sense of smell it is. But basically, like if we've smelt it, like when we smell an essential oil, they've smelt it like 6 seconds beforehand. Do you know what I
right.
mean? Like they're already there, you
Yeah.
know?
They have, what is it? So many more receptors in their nose than we do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, when we as humans, we have like plug-in reeds and plug-in diffusers and these reed diffusers and things, and we think we can't smell them after a while. That doesn't mean that the scent molecules aren't in the air. They are, you know, and our cats can smell it, and it's toxic to our cats because they're all synthetic.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of went scent free, if you like, in our house with Pickle because I could see the power of actually her choosing which oil she wanted to work with when I offered them. That for me was the most powerful gift to be able to give her, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So that's the way I choose. I choose to work with self-selection. So I will let the cat pick. And, you know, if you've got, I mean, I've got, I don't know, 60, 70 essential oils. So you can open up your box and you can let your cat kind of, you know, have a sort of a sniff around it. They might paw at one to tell you that they want that one.
Mm-hmm.
You can, and then this is all the lids on to start with because they can smell it through the, you know, through the lid.
Oh, wow.
Or you can pick, say, I don't know, say 3, and you can line them up, you know, on the floor, different place, you know, a bit of space in between each other.
Mm-hmm.
And again, your cat will come, you know, go to sniff it, walk away, or it'll sit next to one. Or you'll see signs of processing, which I'll share when we talk about the piece of fabric. So, you know, you don't need to take the lid off, put droplets in a bowl or anything because they're so concentrated, which is phenomenal, right? You know, the power of this little tiny bottle of oil is phenomenal. So you can use them with the lid on and offer them to the cat. Again, if your cat's comfortable on the sofa, pick an oil, have the lid on, offer it, like I said, with me and Pickle from a good distance away. They might turn their head to it. They might move towards it, which again is all fine. Just hold it still and let them do what they need to. And then the other way I use them is I will put them on a piece of fabric. So like a cut up face cloth, you know, like a cotton face wipe, not a wipe, you know, like a cotton flannel. Well, we call them flannels. I don't know what you call them in the US.
Just like to wash your face with? Yeah, like a washcloth.
A washcloth, that was it. I knew it wasn't flannel. I knew it wasn't flannel.
No. Yeah, the washcloth. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So get one of those and you can cut it into like 4 corners, you know, because it's like usually like a square, isn't it?
Right.
And use a cotton based one so that it will absorb the essential oil and basically put 1 drop. That's what I do. I've got little bundles of fabric of cut up things. And I put 1 drop of essential oil onto the piece of fabric and I put that on the floor. And again, the cat can come and choose to work with it. They can come and go as they please.
Yeah.
So I think for me, those are really safe ways to use essential oils with cats, you know, in a box or in with the lid on from a distance, or putting the actual oil there for them. Now, what you're likely to see, one of the most common misconceptions about, oh, the cat doesn't like the oil, is if they draw their head back and they're like blinking their eyes, right? So
right.
we know what a slow eye blink is, don't we? You know, usually means, you know, I love you, mum, or I love you, cat. But with an oil, sometimes it can be quite quick, and as they're moving back, you sort of think, oh, I'll move the oil away. It's not that. That's them taking in the scent molecules. That's their body, all of their body processing it. Their brain, their nervous system, their lymphatic system, all of it. You know, it's working. If a cat walks away from an oil, they don't need it. That's the bottom line, right? If the cat walks away, it's not interested. Anything else, it's processing and working with it. So some of the most obvious signs are yawning. You know, it's a great sign of an energy release. And I'm sure you get this with your muscle testing work as well, right? When you clear an energy block, there's a big stretch and a big yawn,
and then they go to sleep.
Yes.
And then they go to sleep. Mm-hmm.
Oh yes. So there are some also like quite funny ones. So usually like ears twitch a lot, like flick a bit, and then you might see the fur like what looks like hyperesthesia, but it's not. Their
not.
fur will twitch. It's all a shift of energy. Because generally what will happen with oils is you'll see the movement on the body. So like the ear twitching, the fur, sometimes they kind of kick their leg out as it goes, and then they'll clean. Because when they have a clean, they're shifting the energy. And if you watch them, they'll start wherever they started flicking, they'll work all the way down to the back foot and the tail, because it's literally like moving it all the way out.
Energy from head to toe or whatever. Yeah, that's so interesting that you said that.
Absolutely. It goes through all the chakras. It might be slow, it might be a quick clean, but when you've done a session with a cat, that's generally what will happen. They'll either have a sleep and then have a clean, or they'll have a clean and then a sleep. And, you know, leave them be. Do you know what I mean? Leave them to enjoy that healing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
So sometimes I feel like all I'm doing is just talking at you, Pam. About
no, I'm so interested. This is you're a wealth of information. So I'm taking it all in.
You get me on a topic I'm passionate about, and you'd be lucky to get a word in edgeways.
I know. I know.
So keep going.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So let me just clarify something.
Yeah.
You don't even twist the top off. You just leave it closed, and that's because you can smell it.
Yep. So you can
get close enough to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me hang on. Let me get an oil. So I've got a Caroline oil.
Awesome. Yeah.
You can. So if my microphone is the cat, okay, we can start, at a distance with the lid on and see what happens. And if there's no reaction, okay, like you said, twist it a little. See, I can smell that now. And again, wait. Give the cat a bit of time. Don't try and do it in seconds. Just be patient, be tolerant. Let the cat take its time. And then if the cat kind of is sniffing and they're looking towards you, you can take the lid off. But again, be at a distance, because some cats, particularly if it's a remedy they need, like if it's a chronic issue or they've got some trauma or some emotional blockage, potentially a cat will come and run over. And they are so quick, if you're not quick enough to move that bottle away, you can't have their mucous membrane on their nose touch the bottle, touch the oil. Topical application, big no.
Right.
So if you do have the lid off, I always hold it so that my hand covers it. So if they're going to if it's going to come to me to sniff the oil more, you need to reduce the chance that the cat's nose will touch the end.
Got it.
And then if the cat's showing a big reaction, never ever leave a cat with an essential oil bottle unattended. If your cat's showing a great reaction, put a drop on a piece of fabric, because again, what that does is it brings the scent molecules closer to the cat. The cat can actually inhale more because they're on the piece of fabric, so they're moving out in the fabric, so they're moving, which is why I said to have the cotton. They're spreading out into the fabric, they are releasing more into the environment, and your cat is likely to go and sit with it and have a really big inhale and take a lot of it in, so you're giving your cat the option to work with the oil in a more concentrated way, what else can we share? So going back slightly to reactions. So in the book, in the Aromatic Cat book, we talked about extreme reactions. Okay. So I experienced this when I was training, and again, you have those moments when you're training and something you think it's gone wrong, and actually, like, it's one of the biggest moments where you learn.
Yes.
So I had a cat, and she had been abused. She'd been kicked, and she was in a sorry state, bless her. And when we started working with Rose, which is one of the most nurturing and loving remedies, it's my favorite. It's one of my favorite herbs. It's probably my favorite essential oil. You've got to be really careful. It's not adulterated when you get the essential oil, and it's not got perfume added to it. But we offered her Rose, and she did a really big hiss, really big, like really aggressive hiss.
Wow.
And I was like, I was really drawn to use rose, and I really questioned my intuition because, you know, I'm an empath, I'm intuitive, so I use that a lot when I'm working with animals, working with cats, because sometimes an oil that I think that's really more for, like, I don't know, stomach problems, and we're looking at, you know, a leg issue. Why do I feel drawn to use peppermint? But I go with it because that's what my intuition tells me. And I thought, no, I'm sure rose is the right one for her. You know, I'm sure it is. Is it? Because then your head starts to doubt, doesn't
You
it?
start second guessing yourself. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, and so I took it away, and she kind of settled back, and then brought it closer again. You know, we had the lid off. She did the same thing, and I wasn't even as close before. I was, you know, further away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, I beep, you know, word. I'm like, oh no. And Caroline came over, and I said, I don't know what's going on. I thought I was doing the right thing. This cat's like really wrecked, because we were working in pairs, so we weren't, you know, monitored or anything. But I'm talking to my partner, and she's like, I'm like, and Caroline said, that's a release of energy. That's a release of emotion. And I'm like, oh, right. Okay. So we offered it a third time. She didn't hiss. She did a really low grumble of a growl, which I'm not going to replicate. and then she did a massive sigh, and she was asleep for at least 40 minutes. She wouldn't work with any other oil. She was
like,
done, right?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, wow. You know, and Caroline, and basically the learning behind it was, you know, if you're dealing with cats, usually if they've had trauma, but actually any cat, be aware of extreme reactions, because what we think, oh, that's a cat hissing, it's not happy. In the world of essential oils, it means something completely different.
Yeah,
you know,
that's so interesting.
Yeah, it is about the energy. It is about how the essential oil properties, which, like, even with the lid on, the energy of this bottle of this remedy, I mean, this is lemon, you know, it will either be calming, or it will help to warm the body, or it will affect their energy bodies. You know, it will affect their chakras. So take it slow and just be prepared. So to see this cat after, she was like a different cat. The rescue worker came in and was like, oh my God, what have you done to Trudy? And it was like, yeah, she had a really big release, and she was like purring. And this woman was like, she's been here for 3 months. I've never once heard her purr. It was just beautiful.
Oh, wow.
It was beautiful.
So cool.
Yeah. And that was from one oil, right? And we didn't do a session with like 3 or 4. Sometimes you can layer them, so you've got, you know, you're working with 2 at the same time. She didn't want any of that. She just wanted a little bit of nurturing, a little bit of love in a bowl. And that's how she healed. So when people say to me, you can't use essential oils with cats, you know, I know different. I've seen different. I've felt different. You know, it's just a question of how you use them. That's the big thing.
Well, and I think most people associate, when you say using essential oils with cats, they think of it the way we do it for ourselves.
Yes.
You know, we can put it on us. We can take it orally. We can put it in a diffuser. And yeah, that would not be how you would want to use it with an animal like a cat. You know, it's a totally different way of using it, but you can still get the benefits of the properties of the oils.
Yes.
It's just learning a different technique and how to use it.
Definitely. And it's almost like the opposite for humans, right? So for humans, how often do you, like, honestly, how often do you get the bottle and go, oh, it feels good? You know?
No, I don't. I open it up and I pour it down my throat. Peppermint. So I'm just like, you know, give me a drop, you know, put it in my water, you know, or lemon, or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a totally different application.
Yeah. So literally the opposite. So you said that you apply it topically, you know, you maybe put it in your bath, like you said.
Face. Yeah, I use it on my face.
You know, never apply an essential oil topically, you know, with a cat, because what happens with they, you know, they lick themselves, you know, so they will ingest it. And if the cat doesn't need the oil, it's a toxin, right? So if I said to you, you know, I think that you've got a headache, so I'm going to give you 2 paracetamol, take them. You know, if you didn't need them, I mean, and usually it wouldn't necessarily have, 2 paracetamol wouldn't have a detrimental effect on you.
Right.
But the point I'm trying to make is, if I thought I knew better than you about what you need, and I tried to fix it with the medication that I think that you need, it's not necessarily going to work the best that it can. Whereas if we give our cats attention, if we pay attention to our cats and we give them the opportunity to use what they need and offer them
Right.
so they can make a choice,
Exactly.
they know what they need to heal. They know what remedies that they need and how long they want to work with an oil for, So
Right.
the thing we haven't talked about, is cats have their liver works differently to us, and to dogs. So it takes a lot longer for toxins to build up and to be processed through their liver, which is why, essential oils can be toxic to cats if they are misused. And this is where I kind of come back to the diffusing, because if you regularly diffuse, you are regularly putting that into your cat's body, and we need to make sure they've got the opportunity to deal with that. I've just noticed Laura's comment. Hi Anna. Hi Mauricia. I've just noticed Laura's comment. Should we talk about that?
Yes, absolutely. I was just going to bring that to our next topic. Yes, thank you, Laura. We briefly touched on it earlier, but let's talk a little bit more about sourcing.
Yes. Absolutely. So Laura said you need to pay attention to sourcing. Gas station essential oil is a no go. Absolutely. Yeah. And this is the problem, I guess, with how popular essential oils have become for us humans. We are seeing the kind of an acknowledgement and understanding of essential oils really boom for humans and how healing they can be. And what that's leading to is essential oils being adulterated.
Mass produced and
yes
and then just kind of cheapened. Just the label on it because somebody wants to make money making an essential oil.
Absolutely. And the two that are sadly the most common and the most adulterated are lavender and rose. So like for rose otto oil, for a pure rose oil, you should be paying a lot of money. Exactly. So I pay a lot of money for my rose because I know that it's proper rose. And also, I get my oils from 2 animal-based companies that are self-selection based. So I know that their use for animals, and I know that they are unadulterated, they're high quality, organic where possible, etc.
Yes.
So Laura's absolutely right. If something looks in the world of essential oils, if you can see a cheap essential oil, it will be that. It will be poor quality. It might not be, you need to look at distillation, how that's happened. And if it's for yourself, it's different, right? Because like I said, we can put it onto our skin if we want to, or we can, wear it in like pendant necklaces and things. But for animals, especially cats, the more pure and more natural it is, the more chance you've got of the cat actually using it and getting the healing properties from whatever remedy it is they're working with. Because synthetic or adulterated oils, it's not going to help the cat to heal as much. And also, like, I'm not a huge fan of blends. Now, again, there are some out there. And some cats, I'm sure, have had success with them, right? It depends how much I think you know about essential oils. So even the people that I work with, they produce blends. Now, for me, it's sometimes if you haven't got the time or the like availability or the capacity to do a good session so that you can offer, one by one, sometimes a blend can work, but again, drop on a piece of fabric. But, I don't know if I use, say, like a calming blend with Leo, I don't know if he's working with like the chamomile, the lavender, or the rose,
Right. You don't know which one's making a difference.
Yeah. So I don't know how to support him next time. So it might work now, to help calm him down. For example, say if we had a vet visit, it might help to soothe him a little. But when we come home, I don't know which one to offer to give him that deeper emotional or mental support. Whereas if I'm working with rose, then chamomile, then lavender, and he shows no interest in lavender or rose, I know that when I get home, I'm going to put chamomile down on a herb garden for him. I'm also going to put chamomile essential oil down on a piece of fabric, and I'll probably use a drop of a chamomile hydrosol in a bowl of water, diluted, in case he wants to work with it. So, I know then I can offer him that one remedy in different formats so he can support himself however he needs to,
Right.
Right, Nicole's. Yeah, so Nicole to make sure that it's third party tested. I believe in the US there are only 2 people doing that testing. So unfortunately, we don't have that here in the UK. So, maybe you can speak to this, Pam. I don't know if you've got any knowledge or understanding about essentials, because that's where unfortunately our across the pondness, UK versus US is a little difficult.
It can't, I don't really know.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I mean,
No.
I buy essential oils for myself from a really high quality, expensive company that has really good distilling processes and sourcing and growing their own, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't recall if it's third party tested or not.
No, it's not something that unfortunately, Nicole, it's not something I've ever looked into, because the 2 people that I get my oils from, one of them is my trainer, who I trained with, 7-8 years ago. And the other is the person that I was on the course with at the time. We worked with the cat together. She set up her own business, and I know and trust her as well. So it's, it's hard to comment, but making, doing your homework, I think, is never a bad idea. Looking into who you're buying from. And if you've got the opportunity, I'd always do a bit of price comparison. Get online, like Money Supermarket or Compare the Market or whatever you guys use in the US. Have a look and compare even just 1 or 2 providers, because you'll be able to see the difference in their pricing, the difference in the information they provide. And like you said, look at what information do they provide. Do they tell you how they've sourced it, how they've distilled it, how they've worked with the oil, or is it just, here's some lavender essential oil, it's great for calming? That's not the kind of the place that you want to invest in or get the oils from. And if you're ever in doubt, ask a question, because again,
if it's the cheapest oil in the mix, probably not the best quality.
And I would have to say, I might get shut down for this, but I wouldn't recommend getting oils from Amazon. Even if there are companies that sell via Amazon, it's likely to be the people that are, bespoke, smaller businesses and things that are going to have the better quality, because they've done the hard work in the background, like you said, about being mass produced. For the first time ever, I bought some peppermint oil via a shop on Amazon, because it's the one place that we use essential oils in our home, mixed in with water as our toilet air freshener, because we don't like to have aerosols and things. And it did not smell of peppermint. It was phenomenally like acidic and almost kind of chemically. It was horrid. So be cautious where you buy your oils from, everybody, and make sure that you trust them.
Before we run out of time, I want to ask you if you can share some like specific oils for specific causes or remedies for like anxiety, cats who are the feral cat, fear, and those kind of examples of cases that you would use it for. Or like arthritis, you said the wintergreen was just amazing. It's not that it's going to be an end all be all for every single cat, but if there's some kind of a guideline, that would be great.
So you're right. I can talk about which oils that I would start with. For example, if I was dealing with a certain type or certain issue with a cat, ultimately it's like as humans, what works for one may not work for another. And sometimes it's about the order that you offer them in, so, but we can definitely talk about that. So for me, if I'm dealing with a cat that's in pain, I think pain's sadly a good topic to start with.
Correct.
Our cats experience it and they hide it really, really well. So, this is when you think that there's pain going on. So, like you said, wintergreen. Now, wintergreen's a very strong oil, and I would only use that if I know for sure that there is pain. So with Pickle, we'd had a diagnosis. She'd had her movement had changed. I'd tried other oils. She wasn't selecting anything. We went to pain as a last resort. She'd already selected St. John's wort, and then she went really, really heavily with the wintergreen. So it led me down that route. It is like a journey. You're taking steps with every oil. So wintergreen, St. John's wort, fabulous remedy. and comfrey. So comfrey is usually as a herb, but those are good pain oils. They sometimes need support if a cat's dealing with physical pain, because that's what I'm talking about for those oils, physical pain. Sometimes they need support with their tummy.
Yeah.
Now, that can be an energetic thing because all their emotions are in their solar plexus, which is linked to their tummy and their digestion. And generally, if you think about as a human, when you're in pain, you find it hard to concentrate. You know, your emotional body is very, very tired. So sometimes they need support with their tummy as well. So chamomile, German chamomile is a great one to use in tandem with like St. John's wort. This is where we talked about the layering. We only touched it briefly. So if I had a cat that had selected St. John's wort, St. John's wort oil, I'd also offer, so if this is the cat in the middle, you've got one this side, you know, I would also offer the chamomile to support their tummy as well. And you might find that the cat will sit with, you know, one direction for, I don't know, 5 minutes, sometimes 20, and then they might switch, you know, and then they might be in the middle, you know, so they watch where they position themselves, you know, with regards to the oil.
Interesting.
So, yeah. So that would be pain. So let's talk a bit about digestion, shall we? So, you know, cats. I was talking to someone yesterday and they said, well, you know, cats just being sick randomly, that's just the way it goes. I'm like, eh? It's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, cats just, you know, just occasionally they're sick, aren't they? I'm like, no, but let's talk a bit about that. So if there's a digestion issue, ginger and peppermint are my go-tos. Just like with humans. Okay, so we've got an upset tummy, have a peppermint tea. We've got an upset tummy, you know, ginger tea. Definitely, it's the same, ginger and peppermint. And actually, you can use the teas. So if you brew a batch, you know, brew a cup of peppermint tea, let it cool, take the leaves or the bag or whatever you use out, put a bit on a saucer, put it down, see if your cat will either sit near it or lick it and ingest it. Sometimes they'll lick it, sometimes they just might sit near it because again, it's the energetic properties. So that would be my tummy recommendations. What else? What other things did you say?
What about anxiety, like transitioning to a new home or you know, just any kind of anxiety situation?
Yeah. I'm just looking in my book, the book that I wrote, because the reason I'm looking is because I have go-to oils that I will use, and I'm very conscious that as a practitioner, I know there are others, but we all have our favorites. You know. So I thought, let's just look and see problems in the nervous system.
Well, you mentioned Rose helped that one feral kitty.
Yeah, Rose. If you need to have one oil in your toolbox, start with the most expensive. Get Rose. You know, if you're getting like one oil a month, that's how I started. You know, Rose was one of my first ones. So yeah, Rose is nurturing. It provides emotional support, mental health support, physical support. It is one of the best. I'm glad actually, because now I've looked here for anxiety. There was 2 that I was going to mention, which are in our list, which is good, and 2 that I wouldn't because I don't always think of them. So I was going to say angelica root and obviously catnip. Now you can get catnip essential oil, and I know not all cats are affected by catnip. But again, with the essential oil, it's slightly different. The chemical makeup is, exactly. So angelica root and catnip, but also we've got here about lemongrass. And now I say neroli and some people say neroli, so say it however you like. They're very balancing, and they're actually kind of, if there's a lot of anxiety and the cat's quite nervous, it helps to sort of slow the pressure of the fear and the nervousness, the nervous system that's gone into overdrive. It helps to cool it in a way that it helps to calm the cat down if they choose to work with it. And then what I would say about aggression, should we do aggression?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
So 2 for me, 3 for me for aggression. First would be hops. like the stuff that they put in beer, hops.
Yeah.
And hemp. And actually, when you use those two together, when you layer them, so you offer one and then the other, the response is usually phenomenal. So if you think about aggression, it's not just about, testosterone. It's not just about, an angry cat.
Right.
Aggression, in my opinion, is about boundaries being crossed. It's about, you're in my territory, you're in my space, you're coming near my kittens, you're taking my food, you've touched me, I don't like it. Whatever form of aggression you're dealing with, it's a no thank you, you've crossed my line. So with hemp and with hops, they are brilliantly calming and soothing, and they do help to reduce testosterone. So, when you've got an aggressive cat, not only is that adrenaline and the kind of all the hormones going around their body and in that fight or flight mode,
right,
their hormones are going to be elevated. So it helps to calm that down.
So it reduces the cortisol?
Yeah.
Perhaps?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it helps to work on their nervous system, a limbic system. So it helps to reduce that fight or flight, being so frantic and just needing to, to react, to lash out.
Yeah, no, it sounds amazing.
It's fabulous. It's fabulous. And then the other for aggression would be valerian. And again, if you know me and naturally cats, you know that I kind of like deal in herbs, and valerian is my favorite herb. It's also a fabulous essential oil. It stinks. I mean, it smells like sweaty feet. Like the oil is worse than the herb, right? It's because it's concentrated. Oh, it's gnarly. It's really gnarly. But it's fabulous, and it's got sedative properties. It's got relaxing properties. It's calming. It's soothing. It just does that to the cat, right? It just helps them to catch their breath when they are in sometimes that mode,
that state.
It helps to break it. It helps to pause. Helps them to pause.
Exactly.
Let me think. What else have we got? There's just two others I just want to mention, if that's okay, and then I'll wrap it up. Two others that I have in my toolbox, again, probably in the first 10 that I bought, were geranium and bergamot. So I love geranium, and I am that moment in the bathroom before I put a few drops in my bath, and they are both really balancing. Let me find what we've got in the book for them. So behaviorally, if you're going to use geranium, it's good for insecure, moody cats in a new home, other disruptions in life, balances the mind and body, relieves emotional and physical stagnation of energy. It's good for depressed cats who lack self-confidence, if their moods are cyclical. And in terms of physical uses, it supports endocrine imbalances, dry or greasy, flaky skin, fungal infections, and hormone problems. So that's geranium, right? That's one oil can support all of those issues or problems with the cat. And then bergamot for me is the other. It's so balancing. I've seen a cat again do a little mini kind of whimper as they're working with it. So behaviorally, bergamot supports depression, erratic behavior, anxiety, frustrated irritability, snappy and intolerance. If you've got one of those cats where 1 minute you stroke them and they're fine, and then the next minute they're properly going for you and they're really reactive, bergamot's a good one to offer. And it says it's for changeable, moody individuals with unpredictable temperament. I wonder if that's why I like it. And for physical uses, it brings the biosystem into balance, genitourinary tract infections, tumors, warts, growths, and viral infection. So on a physical level, it helps with, bacteria and things, a bit sort of antiseptic and that going on in the body. So, really, those would be, I'd say, your top 5 to 10 you want to get: bergamot, geranium, rose, valerian. If you can get hemp and hops, I'd start with those, because you've got a real mixture of those that can help with pain relief, physical pain, those that can support emotional and mental. And with the rose, I would always say start with that, because what it does is it opens the cat up to healing. So, cats are a predator and a prey animal, right? They're always on alert. whether they're on high alert or alert, they're always on alert because they've either got to look for food or they've got to look for threats, right?
That's
so they've always got to be what's going on. So when you're working with essential oils with a cat, you need to make sure that you've got some quiet time. You're not going to be distracted. You've not got little kiddies or dogs running around the house. You've not got visitors coming, because the cat won't work with the remedies. They won't lean into the healing because they're going to be looking to see what's going on. So, find a bit of time and actually make it about you and your cat. That's what I love. That's why I love to work. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I love to work with cats and oils, because it's a very intimate moment. Actually, it's a very intimate connection. And I think when we're so busy and so stressed, I may sometimes think, oh, I've got to do oils with a Leo. But when I get into it, I actually relax and I see the beauty and the wonder of him selecting or working with a remedy. And I know that I'm helping. He's picking them, he's choosing them, he's guiding me. But I know that he's getting some form of balance and wellness. So yeah, I would.
I just popped into my head. What about for sadness or grief? Is there an oil that you would recommend for sadness or grief?
So my first thought would be rose, but let's have a look. Right, 120, 126.
And I have to read Nicole's comment. I'm laughing. She says, I was so upset when I realized I had valerian growing in my garden for years and pulled it out last year because it was nuts. It was stinky.
It is really stinky, Nicole. And you know what? Of all the remedies that I've tried, the one that Leo loves the most is valerian root powder. And God damn it, it stinks. And my husband said the other day, have you put a fresh batch down? And I'm like, yeah, sorry, baby. He was like, open the windows, it stinks in this house. And I went to the shops with my sister for breakfast yesterday, and she said to me, why does your coat smell like valerian powder? And I said, oh, that's because the packet was on the ottoman next to my jacket. So it does stink. It does really stink, but it's a fabulous remedy. It is really good. Sadness, you said. So sadness, neroli or neroli.
Neroli, okay. Yeah.
Yep. And rose. Yeah, just got to rose. And then there's one more, 153. Hang on. Oh, I can't see in there. Oh, lemon balm.
Okay.
Yep, lemon balm. So the reason I'm looking, like I said, in my own book is because there are certain conditions that people come to me for help for. So that there are some that I'm, just your go-tos,
Exactly.
And that's what I think is great about the book. We've got 40 different profiles, 40 different oils. And like I said, it's not one remedy for one thing. And that's what I love.
Exactly.
So, when you start with a cat, you might think they've got pain, and actually you might end up using oils that are for emotional balance. You just don't know. It's a wonderful world to delve into. It's a little bit like astrology. You can get lost and go down a rabbit hole, but I would invite everyone to jump into it because it is phenomenal, and how it can help your cats. It will transform your relationship with them. It really, really will. When they see that you are giving them a choice, their reactions are very different. Your relationship with them, it gets deeper and more profound, and it's beautiful. It is beautiful.
That's awesome. Well, I thank you so much for sharing all this great information with us today.
My pleasure.
It is so exciting. And hold up your book so that people who are interested, you guys can order her book, The Aromatic Cat, off of her website, correct?
Yeah, you can get a signed copy from me. If you go to www.naturallycats.co.uk, go to the shop tab, you'll see the herb guidance that I offer, and you can get a signed copy of the book. And the fact that Nicole just put she's in the rabbit hole, I love that. And actually, I sell a selection box with all my different herbs, with my 20 herbs. So if you want to start off somewhere, like gently on a self-selection journey. Herbs are a great way to do that because they're, really easy to use. You put them down, you watch the cat, and that will help you to understand, oh, he's gone to chamomile. What does chamomile do? Oh, okay. Oh, he's gone to valerian. What does that do? And you can learn as you're watching your cat. And then as you build in confidence, you can then start to get 1 or 2 oils, put it down on a piece of fabric, which I talk about all about how to do that in the book, and then just watch and see what your cat does.
Yeah. One last question here. The difference between essential oils and hydrosols.
Great question, Lara. So both, I would say. So she's put essential oils versus hydrosols. They're both great. They're a different form of remedy. They're a different modality, different way to use them. So if you think about concentration and strength, you've got herbs, which are dried. They've got a beautiful energetic component to them. And obviously the scent molecules are a lot softer. Then you've got hydrosols in terms of concentration, because they're usually from the distillation of essential oils. And then you've got essential oils here, which are the strongest, most concentrated form of the plant remedy. So I don't use a lot of hydrosols because I actually use one or the other. I use oils or I use herbs. But my co-author Nyana, she's a massive advocate for hydrosols. And again, it's just about what you're confident with. So it can be a brilliant bridge in between herbs and essential oils. The difference is, in my opinion, with hydrosols, you can use them to understand ingestion. So we talk about in the book how to dilute them. So Nyana, she wrote the hydrosol section because she's been working with them for years. She actually makes her own as well. You can use, like, I think it's a drop or maybe it's 5 mils. Don't quote me on that. I'd have to check the book. Like I said, it's not a chapter that I wrote, but you can put a drop of hydrosol into some water to dilute it, and the cat can lick and ingest it. And again, it's a great way to get the healing properties into their body if they so wish. If you ever add anything to a water bowl, make sure you've got fresh and adulterated water for your cat. Really essential they've got access to clean, fresh water. But yeah, I'm not really one versus the other. I think it's more about where you've trained or what you've had experience of. My experience is either, working with people with herbs because that's where they like to learn, or with essential oils if I'm dealing with clients where they've got chronic problems. But hydrosols, yeah, just as great. A whole other section in the book about it, how you can use them, what to look for. In my opinion, every botanical remedy is worthy and has a place. It just really depends on what you want to work with. So yeah,
that's amazing. Well, thank you so much. I hope we'll do another. We'll come back again at some point and we'll learn about something else together.
Yes, definitely.
I wanted to thank everybody for watching today and for commenting. Thank you so much for being here and having an interest in this process. Learning is fun, and that's what we're here to do. Is we're here to empower and educate so we can make great decisions on how to raise our cats more naturally.
Definitely.
And
give them
voice and all that stuff. So thank you guys again. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and we will see you soon.
Thank you, Pam, and thank you everyone for being here. And I have to just say that the comment that Nicole left is just going to make me chuckle for the rest of the day. Thank you to everyone that's been here. I hope you found it useful. And if you've got questions or comments, feel free to get in touch. And Pam and we're firm friends now. I know we'll be collaborating again in the future. So thank you for having me, Pam, and thank you everyone for being here.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.